Curiosity. What are you so curious about? Everything, Mr. Curiosity.
All righty, folks. Joe Snedeker here, also known as who? Come on, say it.
Mr. Curiosity.
Mr. Curiosity. And I am curious about a lot of things, including this week, the Mohegan Sun party in the patio. Dave Parfrey, our guest, and Michael G. Stanton. Now, here's the deal. Dave, you are a bigwig at Mohegan Sun, Pocono, correct?
There are no bigwigs, Joe. We are one. We are one fine oiled machine, all working in unison together.
See, he's already given me the politically correct stuff. And Michael G. Stanton, you admit to being a bigwig at Bold Gold Media, right?
No, I'm going with the same thing. I'm going with the same thing.
Well, you know what? Then this is over. If I don't have bigwigs, I don't want to do this. Okay, it's done.
Listen, people have titles, but titles mean nothing if you don't work together as a team.
Exactly.
I hear you, but we're just here to laugh and have fun and admit that we're all bigwigs. Okay.
You're a bigwig.
Exactly.
No, but in all seriousness, so I want everyone to understand at least the connection between the two, if not three of us, before we dive in. Michael G. Stanton, because I don't understand this myself. Here's what I understand. Mohegan Sun Pocono has office space that they rent out to Bold Gold Media. Am I on this correctly, at least?
Actually, it goes a little further than that, Joe.
Oh, let's hear it, Dave. Let's hear it.
Back in 2008, a partnership was created with Bold Gold Media and the Mohegan Tribe, actually, to the point where we actually have a fully functioning radio station in our casino, broadcasting the River 105. I mean, obviously, Bold Gold has numerous widely popular radio signals throughout Pennsylvania and up into New York, but at any given part of the day, you could walk by and see Michael or any of his team busting out the hits right in our casino.
Which is pretty cool because I've walked by, and when you look at a human being behind glass doing something, I don't care what they're doing, it's interesting. And you get to see live radio happen, which is pretty cool, correct?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Now, Mike, do you feel like when people are looking at you in the casino, like you're
goldfish?
I don't know, you need to perform?
You're a goldfish.
You're a goldfish. But
no, I think you get used to it. It was odd in the beginning, but you get used to it. We have Jude in the morning. You have DC in the afternoon. We've got folks on the weekend. So yeah, you kind of have to phase it out a little bit.
When I had goldfish, they'd always have little streamers of their waste hanging down from them that they'd swim around with.
That doesn't happen with
that.
No, that doesn't happen here.
That does not.
No.
You made the fish analogy, not me. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
All right. So, Dave, you mentioned something that has always, I don't know if most people know this, and I'm the ignorant fool. I don't know. How did the whole thing with Native Americans and casinos get to where it's at now? I kind of understand. I don't. I do. Could you help us?
Right. So Joe, I can speak to the origin of the Mohegan Tribe building Pennsylvania's first casino here in Wilkes-Barre, PA. So Mohegan Tribe built a jewel of a property up in Uncasville, Connecticut, 26 years ago. I mean, it is literally, I don't know if you've ever been there, Joe. You drive into this property and it looks like any Vegas casino. It's big, it's beautiful, it's awesome. Great experience if you ever have a chance.
But if you can back that up just a hair. So yeah. The Mohegan Tribe, as you call it, correct? Is that the correct term?
Mm-hmm.
How did they get to that point? Like, so did the government work this out and say, this is your land, or did they just purchase it and the certain rules of the United States do not apply to them? Is that how this all works?
So the land up in Uncasville, Connecticut is actually tribal land. They have, so aside from their casino, they operate their own fire department, their own police department. It is truly tribal land, separate from contained within the state of Connecticut.
Is that right? See, I didn't even know that. That's interesting.
Yes. And then back in 2005, when I think it was Ed Rendell, our governor Ed Rendell, was looking to launch the gaming expansion bill or our slot bill, the Mohegan Tribe was extremely interested in this Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, and they wanted this to be their first venture of Connecticut and into Pennsylvania. Clearly different down here, right? It's not tribal land, but by this time they were many years into owning and operating casinos, and they built this casino resort here in Wilkes-Barre Plains, PA. I tell you this, Joe. We were formerly a racetrack owned by another gaming company. The Mohegan Tribe building this property, installing their culture, their guest service here. It's truly a family atmosphere. Every employee, whether they're still here, and we have tons of day one employees still here. I am a day one employee, but every employee that has come through these doors has embraced that culture and really talks so highly of the team spirit here. It's a great atmosphere.
Yeah, and you have to admit that's very unique. So if you were to trace this is going back to Native American culture and Native American owners, original landowners of North America. So these are descendants.
Correct.
That's excellent. That's excellent. So something like I believe in my sketchy background with this whole thing. So didn't Mount Airy try that? And are they still doing that? And could anyone do that if they applied for a license like this? Could Mike and I, if we had billions of dollars, said we're going to do this? How does it work?
So although Mohegan Sun Pocono was Pennsylvania's first casino, we've had numerous casinos open up in the years to come. Penn National, Mount Airy, Wind Creek down in towards Bethlehem, Philly Parks down at the old Philly racetrack. And then they branched out to the western part of the state as well. Most recently, in the past few years, through another gaming expansion bill, satellite casinos were allowed to be bid on by gaming operators. So these are smaller casinos, maybe 500 slot machines, 30 table games. I believe there's talk of one going in down at Penn State, near the Penn State campus. If you and Michael wanted to pull together millions and millions of dollars and pass the arduous investigative nature of the gaming industry, I'm sure, Joe, you and Michael could pass that, right?
Come on, Joe. Let's.
Okay, no, I'm just curious. I got a little bit in my 401k. I don't know.
Perhaps you could also open your own casino.
So that's kind of how it all started. That's very, very interesting. So another thing I've always wondered about before we get to the whole summer program, Party in the Patio. So your background, where did you come from? Are you a Northeastern Pennsylvania guy?
I'm a Green Ridge boy, born and raised.
Get out of here.
Yeah. And then parents.
Did you go to Zumo's coffee place, which used to be Zumo's? It used to be like a little general store.
I don't recall Zumo's. Bernetti's Pizza back in the day was a big stop of mine at Green Ridge Corners.
Okay. So you go to college to major in what then? How do you get to this point?
Penn State, majored in accounting and finance.
Really, Mike? You see, he is a big shot.
I told you that. Yeah. And I'm gonna say this and maybe offend some folks. He's not a stereotypical accountant guy. Well, in my opinion.
Well, hence the move. So yeah, Joe, I started out in finance, built out our FP&A team here at the casino over probably the first 14 years, and then made the move over to the marketing side because although I fully embrace and love all things finance, especially analysis, truly the excitement and the creative passion is where marketing.
All right. You got to follow those passions, but definitely you're entrenched in it at the casino. There's all marketing and finance, and it's all one big gooey ball of love. A couple things I'm always wondering. So let's just pick on the one-eyed bandit, the slot machine, for example. How does all that, it's always, I'm told, in the casino's favor, correct? Like a casino is there to obviously make money.
So a casino is here built obviously to be profitable, right?
Right.
But also the tax dollars generated from every dollar of gaming revenue, whether it be from a slot machine or a table game, goes back to the state in the tune of 55% on the dollar. So what you're seeing out there with our tax dollars, and especially with the local share monies, which is a portion of those tax dollars, local firehouses getting new trucks, libraries being built. Just from our casino alone on a 12-month basis, $10 million goes to a local share fund where communities can apply for grants to basically enhance the community.
That's awesome. So it's really the people's money going back to the people, but through entertainment, so to speak, right?
True.
I love it. And now you're going to take personal blame for bringing down Atlantic City. Are you going to take blame for that?
We cannot take blame for that. Actually, the Mohegan Tribe operates through a management deal, Resorts Casino in Atlantic City. So they are a sister casino of ours, so to speak. And I still love getting down to Atlantic City a few times a year.
But you have to admit, it's a little bit, it wasn't what it was in the 80s into the 90s. Is that connected, or is that just what people say? Is that like wives' tales?
Well, I mean, Joe, back 20 years ago, right? You either flew out to Las Vegas,
right,
or you went to Atlantic City on the East Coast. And as it's not just Pennsylvania, I mean, it was a big gaming boom as states begun to pass gaming legislation. It wasn't just Pennsylvania. It was New York and West Virginia and Ohio. All of these states started passing this legislation. So yeah, less volumes to Atlantic City, but it's still a great place.
Yeah, you got that right. You don't have the ocean, so take that. Now, that smell that's in casinos, I'm attracted to it. Do you want to reveal the secret of that smell? Whenever I go in there, I just want to stay because of that smell. Mike, do you know what I mean?
I totally know. Yes.
What is that smell? Is it a secret formula? What?
That smell is widely popular in the casino industry and other businesses. It is a great air freshening system that pumps out various types of, and Joe, great story here. Back in my finance days, years and years ago,
okay,
we had an assistant general manager here who wanted to bring in new scents. So we actually got to test out all these scents. Oh, this one's a little more oaky, and this one's a little more. I mean, as a finance guy, I don't.
Yeah.
I have allergies in the summer. I can't smell anything. But I will say that the system is out there to alleviate some of the other smells, and it's pretty high tech.
Is that right? Yeah, it does seem high tech and unique because it's not the kind of thing where it's a little more potent there and less there. It's like everywhere.
Yep.
You should get some of that in your home studio.
I really should because it stinks in here. It really does. I'm in the basement. It smells a little bit. My wife's always complaining. There's a mold smell here. The dehumidifier isn't taking off enough moisture. I don't know, but
listen, I got a guy for you if you're looking for a mold.
Victor. All right. So back to casino talk. So things are good. How unique would you say then is Northeastern PA to have this treasure of you guys? If I were to go to Virginia, Northeastern Virginia is their one. Oh, I'm going to go to Tennessee. Does every state pretty much within an hour or 2 or 3 drive have something similar?
Right. When it comes down to it, especially now that competition is everywhere, and it crosses borders to states, it's all about the brand you present. And going back to our initial discussion about the Mohegan Tribe building this place here, it's all about that guest service, blowing away the guests, right? We want you, when you're leaving our doors after a trip, whether you're here to hit a slot machine, a table game, or actually, Joe, you and your wife go to an incredible dinner at a Ruth Chris Steakhouse that we have here, right? You're on your way out the door. We want you leaving with that feeling, I can't wait to get back here. So whether you're taking in a show in our ballroom or you're outside for party in the patio, we just want you feeling that incredible guest service and just looking forward to coming back.
I do. And I must admit this too. This is like a confessional. I was brought up a Catholic boy as a happily married man of 29, almost 30 years. Sometimes I'll just sit there and watch the pretty girls go by. That doesn't make me a bad person.
Listen, now, if you were in a studio inside Mohegan Sun, you can stay here for hours.
Behind the glass. Yes. Yeah, it's a constant train of beautiful women.
Yeah.
And it's just taking in a weird path.
All right. So then when does Mike Stanton enter well, actually not Mike Stanton. When does someone say, let's have concerts here? Because I remember, I think it's over 10 years ago, during the winter months, in the cold, depressing part of winter, you guys were a light at the end of the tunnel for me, because starting, I think it was like January, February, I'd be going to see all of these tribute bands, Foreigner tribute band, the Cars tribute band. And I had an awesome time there. And I don't think there were patio bands then, but it was winter thing, wasn't it?
But it was never truly a winter thing. We would have indoor entertainment in the ballroom in our winter months, right? But
okay.
it loses some of the overall experience. And we'll go back in time, right, Joe? And Mike, then you can jump in with the monumental undertaking, Bold Gold, and you yourself do with emceeing these events. But way back in 2007, Joe, our little temporary facility here, PA's first casino, was open for only a year. And while we were opening it, we were building this monstrosity that is the jewel of our phase 2 property, what you know as Mohegan Sun Pocono today. Our original GM, Bobby Soper, had this idea. He said, listen, I want to take a day of the week and I want to own that day through entertainment. I don't want to hurt the local bars. Let's stay away from Fridays and Saturdays, but I want to take a day and I want to own it. And we're going to give people the music they love. Now, he was a huge 80s fan. So obviously a lot of that music, and still that DNA is in our schedule today that we just announced for 2022. He said, I want to give people free music. I want to give them cheap beverages. And I want just a great time out there under the stars, right out in front of our racetrack. And the blueprint was there, Joe, for a true success, right? But what we learned in this was even the greatest ideas need a few years of refinement, allowing them to grow the roots, right? It wasn't an instant success. The original Party on the Patio wasn't even called Party on the Patio that first year. It was our deck outside overlooking the racetrack with a massive tent built over it, room for maybe 200 people, a great tribute band, and free food. And we had people, I mean, we were struggling to put 200 people in that area out there.
Is that right?
They were coming for the free food and then going back inside. Now,
Mike, were we there for the free food? I don't remember that.
Well, we were there because when I got here, that's when they started it, when I got to Bold Gold. So it was literally, Dave said it wasn't Party on the Patio originally, but when it was Party, it was literally on that patio.
Yes.
So it was a sliver of the size of how large it is today. Literally, it was on the patio.
15 years ago. That's when this starts.
Yep.
But just a few hundred people showing up. It wasn't like this cultural phenomenon like it is now.
So what happens is, as the years start to go by, right, we ramp up our number of events, and then word of mouth spreads, little advertising sprinkled in, and suddenly this thing just blossoms into the event it is now. And like I said, it truly is NEPA's biggest free concert and party. I mean, where else are you going to go on a Thursday night, get incredible entertainment? And we bring bands, Joe, from coast to coast and Canada. If you're what is that Canada band? The Bee Gees.
Okay.
So we recruit bands from all over the country, bring them in. We purchased our own stage now. That gets erected as soon as racing ends the previous day. They start setting up at 7 a.m., right? And this is something that the Party on the Patio fans, and there are a lot of them, they're very passionate. They look for that schedule to come out in March every year. And if it's not out in March, they're already beating down our doors asking where it is. Right?
I'm that guy. This is the highlight. This is my life pathetic. This is partial the highlight of my summer every year.
Yeah, but that's a good thing.
Oh, it's so good because, and I'm not saying it's the free part, but just the energy. There's how many people? Do you guys get a number? 5,000?
So yeah, I mean, the space, the full racing apron, as we call it, space could probably hold about 5,000. That's, some of the wings of the apron. And I'd say the true space we use now, the true footprint, can easily hold 3,000, and we get them strong out there on an 80-degree night, Joe, under the stars, perfect weather. You cannot beat it.
I'm telling you, that's the thing. The sun is going down.
Right.
Dusk is moving in. The stars start showing up. There's a breeze blowing a distant flag. You hear your favorite band. Mm-hmm. And my big conundrum always, is it the art or the artist? And I've come to the conclusion, it's the art, not the artist. So when I go see the Eagles cover band when I go see Bon Jovi cover band, Journey cover band, you hear the music that us old guys, and I'm talking about anyone in their 40s, 50s, and beyond, grew up with, and it just makes you feel alive. I don't need to see the real Journey. And in many cases, these bands, these guys are now in their 60s and 70s, and they can't do it as good as the tribute bands. And that's a cold, hard fact.
Yep.
And if you were to go see the Eagles, you're going to pay $400 a ticket, and they're going to be about this big. What's the big deal? You know what I mean? So this thing to me is the greatest thing ever. I remember in the 90s, I was hearing a lot about bands like Styx and REO Speedwagon and Foreigner. I think you guys hit it at the right time because they were on the decline. They couldn't even sell tickets to go see the real bands. And it's because guys like us, we're having kids. We were in our 20s and 30s, and we were done with our teenage years. And now that we're older, 40s, 50s, 60s, we want to relive our youth. And now even the real bands, REO Speedwagon, Styx, and now all your tribute bands, they can't get enough tickets because everyone wants to relive that. So you struck while the iron was hot. And that's a part of, I think, the success.
Right. No, I would agree. And I mean, obviously, it's this concept has been imitated, at least in this area since. And I mean, that's best, most sincere form of flattery, right? And we still think we do it the best. And we still think we put on an incredible free experience for people that just want to love on some 80s music. Now, that's not to mean we haven't interjected some 90s stuff. Joe, last year when I was talking to you over weather for our Queen event, and we were panicking.
Nice.
We did have a brief chat about, at what point do you branch out from the 80s? Do you stick with what works?
It's a little risky, right? I mean, because do the people in their 20s and 30s have the cash that us older guys have, right?
Right. I will say we've got one solid 90s band. Well, actually, at this point now, they span 3 generations. But we do have a Red Hot Chili Peppers tribute band loaded up for June, rather. So that'll be an experience. I'm looking.
Well, do you have the list in front of you? Because I thought we'd get the man with the golden pipes to work his magic and tell us about the schedule for this upcoming summer.
I do.
Who's that? Bob Vanderheen?
No, that's Michael G. Stanton right here. Are you ready?
Well, we have
so as of as of this is airing. We missed the first one, so we missed the Bon Jovi tribute band. That was
Bon Jersey on June 2nd.
Yeah, all right. But from here on out, man, it's coming at you hard and heavy. These are all great shows. Golden Pipes, hit it.
Yeah. Hey, the Prince tribute band is going to be on the 9th, so that will be the second show.
And real quick, Joe, one thing about that Prince tribute band, it's called Dean Ford and the Beautiful Ones. This is an act we've been trying to get back to our property for years. They're out of, I think, the Boston or Massachusetts area. Great, incredible performers, great artists. This one is going to be massive. We're looking forward to it. Sorry.
No.
Back to you, Mike.
The Red Hot Chili Peppers, RHCP is on the 16th. We've got.
How do you do Flea? Did you see these guys ever? I mean, Flea's tough to do.
Well, Joe, that's one of the best parts about this particular form of marketing is I get to sit down with my director of promotions and entertainment, Jennifer, and we basically spend the winter months watching bands, tribute bands,
nice.
And building up our wish list, right? While keeping your anchors. You're never going to get rid of Bon Jovi because we would be
yep.
out there with pitchforks.
Does he rip his shirt off? I need to know if he does a correct Flea. Is he topless?
He will go full Flea.
Okay, good. All right. Up next.
Well, let's see. We've got the best of the Eagles. That's the
now.
Eagles.
I got to say this before you go on. Is this the same as last year?
Yes.
Because I've seen a lot of tribute Eagles bands, and this one was my favorite of all time. And listen, I love Don Henley and Joe Walsh and the gang, but listen, I'm really looking forward to that. And they're kicking butt and they do it better. I didn't say that. I did not say that. I'm sorry. I take it back. But no, they're excellent. I'll be at that show for sure.
Then we've got Who's Bad? Michael Jackson on the 30th, June 30th.
Returning back to Mohegan Sun Pocono for the first time in 10 years.
Keep her going, Bubby. We got Bruce Springsteen. Who's not going to love that one?
Tramps Like Us, a Springsteen tribute on the 7th, July 7th. That's going to be awesome. We've got Rubik's Cube. It's an 80s.
So one thing about this, Joe, I've always wanted to make this slight little switch tweak to Party on the Patio. Whether you're a Bon Jovi, a fan of Bon Jovi's music or the Eagles, at some point throughout the night, right, you're going to start to get to those deep cuts, right, or the beat tracks where
right.
It's time to grab another beer or hit the restroom. I've always wanted to bring in a performance that covers every hit from a particular genre, right? So Rubik's Cube does it well. They'll go full attire in the 80s. So basically every song being belted out, a instant classic hit from the 80s. It should keep the crowd going nuts out there all night long.
That's going to be huge. And that's a new one, correct?
We've had them for New Year's Eve events several years ago, but they were the first back to Party on the Patio for, actually, it's their first time ever. Yeah.
So before we continue with the list, though, I got to ask you, Dave, and remember when I do these podcasts, I've done over 50 of them. I bring the bell because if I get too rude, all you have to say is bell, and then I shut up. You don't even have to say anything. Just say bell, and I shut up.
Wow.
Two things I'm wondering. And I remember I had a friend who worked in the industry this is over 10 years ago, and he said, one of my favorite bands, Blue Oyster Cult, I think cost maybe $5,000 to get at a gig, which I mean, 10,000, which seemed pretty low to me, but I don't know.
Well,
do you want to comment on how much you charge these guys or how much they charge you, I should say?
Yeah.
Or we don't want to go there. I don't know.
I would love to go there because the entertainment we're putting out there, Joe, for a free show is not cheap by any means. Now, and it can get very expensive based on some of those acts we bring in once or twice in the past couple of years. But we're probably gonna have to go bell because I cannot throw out some of the secrets.
Plus, these artists aren't getting a portion of the ticket sales because there are no ticket sales. So I mean, that's a big.
Very true. Yep.
It gets confusing. All right, so
but I will say, whoever told you 10 grand for Blue Oyster Cult even 10 years ago, there's no way they were only 10 grand.
Oh, really?
Oh, no.
Whoa. See, there's a little info. Mike, you have no comment on all this? You a big
no. I'm not privy to any of that stuff.
Oh,
no.
Wow.
Listen, that way, if I've ever, anybody ever corners me, I could honestly, say I have no idea.
I just saw Loverboy last week at the Spyglass Ridge Winery. What do you think they paid for them? See, you don't want to comment.
Wow.
15, 20,000, 18,000.
Bell.
All right. On with the list. So next we have huge. Who doesn't like Elton John, right? Mike Stanton, pick it up. That's
Philadelphia
Thursday.
Freedom. That's on the 21st, July 21st. Elton John. Back in Black, AC/DC, always a big one. Oh, yeah. I mean, these are always big, but all of these are big. That's on the 28th of July, AC/DC, Back in Black. We've got Full Moon, Fever.
Actually, no, Journey prior to Great Escape.
Oh, my bad. And I'm not wearing my cheater glasses right now, so I'm holding this list way out in front of me. And that's on the what's the date? The 11th? No.
Yeah, now we're into August. Yeah, now we're into
so Joe, here's what we close out August with. We will go strong. Journey, which is a monster every year. We shift over to Tom Petty, Full Moon Fever cover tribute band. Black Dog, like Led Zeppelin. And then closing out super strong with two big time fan favorites here, Staying Alive, the Bee Gees, and Tusk, Fleetwood Mac, close out August. And we actually have one show on September 1st.
So here's the thing. When you look at this list, Mike Stanton knows that I'm a music guy and I tend to be, and Mike, I hate to admit this, a little snobby with my music, I don't like that. I have my deep cuts, my bands that nobody knows. But what you've selected is bands that pretty much everybody likes. People who are 12 and people who are 78, everybody likes these, including me. So you did it right, brother. I mean, you did it right.
Why would they do it wrong?
No, but sometimes you can take a risk is what I'm saying, and then you don't know what you're going to get, but everybody likes all of these bands. One thing that's missing though is the Beatles. Are they tough to get? Beatle
Right.
cover bands?
We have had Beatles tribute bands over the years. Every now and then we may take a break from one particular band and try something new for one particular week, and then they'll be back the next year. Like for instance, Jimmy Buffett. I consider myself a huge Parrot head. Joe, I've been to all around the country, probably 12, 13, 14 shows now. And we've had Jimmy Buffett as a tribute band over the years. We're just taking a 1 year break or so from that particular performance and bringing in something like the Prince tribute band or the Red Hot Chili Peppers or the Who's Bad Michael Jackson. We do have our anchors, like I talked about, your Bee Gees, your Fleetwood Macs, your Springsteen, Eagles, so on and so on, Bon Jovi, obviously. But, you know, we do like to keep it fresh to some degree while keeping those anchors in play.
I love it. Now, I'm wondering, Mike Stanton, you have to back me up here again. I'm going to get the bell out. I'm wondering if they're going like this. I wonder if they're saying behind closed doors, this thing has become such a success. I wonder if in some closed, big mahogany wood office with sound deadening on the walls, they're saying, we should start charging them. We didn't know it was going to be this big. We can't let all these people in for free anymore. It's too big now. Let's charge them $20 each. And then there's some going like this. Yeah. Is it going to get to that?
Listen, don't you think it would diminish the appeal?
I wonder.
I don't work here.
So Joe, let me comment on that one. First of all, The Office does have many leather-bound books that smell mahogany. But no, I can, as I sit here today, listen, it truly is about that experience out there. Listen, we're making revenue to pay for the bands on the adult beverages or non-alcoholic beverages, but truly it is about creating that experience for our guests. Outside, free show, great entertainment. We will not be charging for that.
Are there any stats that you guys look at, being a marketing guy and a financial guy? If you did charge, half the people would show up, 30% of the people would show up. I wonder if there's any information on that.
I mean, I'm sure I could speculate, but that would probably fall into the bell realm.
Mike, this guy's pulling out the bell more than anyone in my history here.
Well, but maybe you're digging. When you're talking to a finance guy, though,
I know
that's a personal thing.
Joe,
like if we said, Joe, so how much money do you have in the bank? You would ring
I
the
know.
bell.
And then I'd go,
Right.
I know. Money's
Joe,
a weird thing to talk about.
Joe,
Money's weird.
When you have something that works and tried and true, and it's been refined for 15 years now, the core of that experience should not be changed, nor will it ever be changed.
All right. So Michael G. Stanton, you've been there for these years, introducing a lot of these bands. Do they come out, or even behind the scenes? I know they're cover bands, but do they have a rock star persona when you meet them, when you interact with them?
Yeah. Some of them are the artist. I guess it would be similar to acting, where they get into character and they are that singer, they are the drummer, they are the guitarist, they are that performer. And there are others that it's cool, the transformation, how they're super cool and chilled out in the tent, and they go on stage and then they transform.
Yeah. Well, we all play that game, I guess. And I don't want to cut you off, but I did lose your video. We can keep talking.
What happened?
I don't know, but I'll keep talking. You can keep talking and we'll wrap things up. I will say this now. There you are. I've been on TV for almost 30 years, but I'm standing in front of a camera. I've been an educator, which I'm standing in front of 20, 30 students. But last year at one of your events, do you remember what happened? I had the opportunity to, with you, Michael G. Stanton, introduce, what band was it? Why do I forget? I don't know if I was
Queen.
That was, yeah.
It was Almost Queen, of course.
Yeah.
And I tell you what, being on stage in front of the sea of people that was out on a beautiful day, wow, that's a memorable experience forever and ever. Just something about that. So do you get a little freaked out, a little nervous? I had the butterflies. No.
See, but because I've done that before.
Yeah.
So I don't. I don't know why. I think it's because, honestly, everybody at Party on the Patio, whether it's all of the great people that work for Mohegan Sun, Pocono, or everybody who's there, is there for the show, and they're all like they're just there for a great experience. So when you're up there, you're just kind of, you know, introducing the band, or you're welcoming people, you know, to listen to the river. Thank you for coming out, or give a big round of applause to, you know, the bartenders and the waitresses. Like, everybody is part of the show, if you will. They are part of it. That's what makes, I think, Mohegan Sun and Party on the Patio huge, because everybody is part of it.
Yeah, I totally agree. It's just an aura. It's a vibe. It percolates right through everyone is just like chill and happy. It's almost like a surreal utopian experience. It's unbelievable. You got to get there, folks. So if this podcast can get you there, go there. If you want to just play 21 like Mike Stanton, I'm told that his wife once told me, Dave, that he takes the check every week from his work, and sometimes he puts the whole house on red. Is that true, Mike?
Put it down. Sure.
I'm not going there.
Yes, that happens. No.
Dave, maybe this is another and final bell question. I always hear, I'll be out with my buddies, and they'll be like, and I don't even know if this could be true. They'll be like, hey, did you hear about so-and-so's brother-in-law's sister? And I go, what? They're like, oh yeah, they won $380,000 at Mohegan. Are people doing that?
Oh, I mean, Joe, we have certain jackpots, especially on table games, one called Blazing Seven, that has gotten as high as, I want to say, $600,000.
That's unbelievable.
In years past. Yeah, there are large jackpots to be had here. Yes.
Mike, we can believe that guy that told us that story now. How about that?
Yeah. Well, of course.
I did not know. And then when you see him going past your goldfish on display studio, they have a different strut, I bet, right?
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Their heads are raised high. Yeah. They're going to Party on the Patio. Sure.
All right. Big shot, Dave Parfrey and Michael G. Stanton. I appreciate the time. If you want to just give out maybe the website or anything you guys need to do to get people interested, now's your chance. And then we'll wrap it up.
Anyone looking to find out more about Party on the Patio or our casino and resort in general can go to www.mohegansunpocono.com, and everything is there for their reading pleasure.
Excellent.
And we always post stuff on the River's Facebook page. We've got 1.3 million followers on that. So, you know, the River, we've been a host, 105 and 103.5. We've been a host of Party on the Patio since it started way back when Dave was here. So, yeah.
I love it. And the first one, because I am a working man, I got to pay the mortgage. A lot of these Thursdays I can't make, only because I have to work on Friday, but I'm taking off a lot of Fridays just for this event, so I don't have to wake up at 3 a.m. and go to work at WNEP. But the first one for me is the Eagles. I'll see you guys there.
Awesome.
Excellent.
Because right now I already have a peaceful, easy feeling.
Wow.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Joe.
All right. Thanks, Joe.
Curiosity. What are you so curious about? Everything, Mr. Curiosity.